Hello students, today we will continue our story. Yesterday you saw that Sati's mother was actually, trying to making Arun understand something. He was convincing him that, for a small boy, on these sort of places, it's not good and actually not safe. And even a stranger, he will have to be very alert from the strangers. He was actually making her alert from the stranger. But the Arun replied her saying that I like a stranger. Sati's mother definitely staggered a little, as obviously she was not used to being contradicted by small boys. There you are, you see. If you don't watch over them all the time, they will walk straight into trouble. Always listen to what your mother tells you, she said, wagging a fat little finger at me. And never talk to strangers. But now again, as the narrator told her that she actually like strangers, with this Sati's mother actually staggered a bit. Staggered here, student, means just hesitated and they started to doubt about something, but and it's very obvious that after this sort of reply, Sati's mother would get staggered because she was not used to that someone contradict her in this way. Contradict means to say that, in asserting the deny the truth of by asserting the opposite. Student, you can note down the meaning of this word. Deny the truth of, deny the truth of by asserting the opposite. You can write by hearing, student, deny the truth by asserting the opposite. So actually, in simple words, it is known as baat kaatna. Sati's mother is not, हैबिचुअल दैट समवन कंट्रडिक्ट हर इन दिस मैट कि कोई इस तरह से उसका बात काटे, इस बात की उसको आदत नहीं है. सो सी गेव एन एक्सप्रेशन ऑफ वेरी astonishment. So further she is telling to her, to the lady who Sati's mother thinks that is her mother, is his mother actually, by begging his finger means by shaking his finger at someone's face, at someone mouth, at pointing towards someone. So actually, Sati's mother actually pointed her finger towards Arun and then tell him and the lady who is standing by the side of Arun that there you are. If you don't watch over them all the time, they will walk straight into it. Sati's mother is telling that if you will not watch, the boss will definitely fall into the problem. And further she says that you always listen to what your mother tells to Arun. And actually again she is assuring, again she is actually making him assert that you should never talk to strangers. But Arun is not liking all this at all. He has started glaring resentfully at her. A student, glare means, staring at someone means ghurna. And then resentfully means, student, actually in a manner that shows displeasure. So she is, Arun is actually not liking this from Sati's mother at all. He is just disliking it. He is very displeasure. He is not in a happy mood at all with this behavior of Sati's. And actually he moved closer to the woman who had befriended me. And actually Arun said that Arun didn't say anything. He just glared resentfully at Sati's mother, and then he actually, moved closer to the woman who has become a friend with Satish. Just few time, just few hours ago at the railway station, the woman who is standing by the side of him, Satish was standing behind his mother, grinning at me, at delighting in my class with his mother and delighting in my class with his mother. Apparently, he was on my side. And all the while, when Satish's mother was telling everything to Arun, actually Satish was enjoying this, and Satish was thinking that yeah, he is getting a scold from my mother, but he is also in favor of Arun, because boys and kids always want freedom, and they also think that they should also allow for doing all those things that grown ups do. So Satish is also in favor of Arun, but he is giving a smile at narrator right now, and he cannot speak anything because his mother is actually speaking. And grinning means student is smiling. When you have a broad smile on a face, that is known as grinning. You are grinning. So Satish is actually smiling by seeing all this. So having a broad smile on your face, that's the meaning of green. You can note down the meaning, students. And he was also delighted. Also delighting means he was happy, he was becoming happy. He was enjoying this, whatever Satish mother is telling to Arun after hearing this. But he is in favor of Arun because he is in the same age of Arun, and he also thinks that a boss should have freedom like a like a grown up person. Now the station bell actually clanged. You all students know that at the railway station there is bell, and it actually sometime electronic bell these days is present, and it actually makes a sound like the bell. So it is, you can call it as station bell. So now the station bell clanged, and clanged is the sound of the bell. The sound that a bell makes, that is actually known as clanged. So, and after the bell actually clanged, and the people who had till now been squatting resignedly on the platform began bustling about. Now when the station bell clanged, all those people who were thinking before that now the train is not going to coming, they were just sitting in a squatting position. Student, squatting is what? Squatting is actually the position in which they were sitting. Squatting, in a squatting position we sit by folding our legs. So all those people were actually sitting in a squatting position, resignedly means they were resigned from the fact that a train is going to come, and they were just sitting without caring for anything. They were just sitting there passing their time in full leisurely mode. But now everyone start bustling about means every सभी लोगों ने अफरा तफरी start कर दी ना. Everyone started to move here and there, move about here and then. Everyone just caught up, and they just adjusted their things and goods that they have with them, and then they start running towards the platform and towards the bogies of the train. So actually, students, you are seeing this is not a very unfamiliar scene for those who visits railway stations regularly. Now let's see the next paragraph. Here it comes, shouted Satish. When the train's bell actually clanged, Satish shouted that, yeah, here it comes. It means here comes the train. As the engine whistles shrieked and the front lights played over the trails, as the sound of the engine actually comes, Satish shouted that the train has come, and actually the front light of the train also displayed over the rails. Rails are the track of the railways. So on the track of the railways, actually the light of the engine, the front light of the train actually displayed over the rails, over the railway tracks. And student, the whistle, engine whistle, actually the city of engine, and shrieked is the sound that the whistling sound of a train is generally known as shrieking. The whistling sound, shrieking is the high pitched cry voice. So this sort of sound is very much associated with the railway engine. Railway engine makes a very shrieking whistle sound. Now let's move on to the next paragraph, students. The train moved slowly into the station, the engine hissing and sending out waves of steam as it came to a stop. Satish jumped on the footboard of a lighted compartment and shouted, "Come on, Arun, this one's empty." And I picked up my suitcase and made a dash for the open door. Now, as the train actually moved slowly into the station, the engine actually hissed and sending out a waves of steam. Whenever a student, that a train actually stops on a railway platform, it always hisses. The wheels of the train, and when the train takes brake, it makes a very hissing sound, and that actually sends waves in our body. It is that sort of sound. It's a screeching sound. It actually produces a screeching sound. The engine, when the brake of the train is taken and when it stops on the railway tracks, actually the wheels of the train make a actually hissing sound, screeching sound. And as the train stopped, Satish jumped on the footboard of a lighted compartment. Lighted compartment here, student, means to say that all the lighting poles on which lights are set, and lights burn and give on that, the footboard means, the actually the pillar on which you can stand. So it was actually the footboard of the lighted compartment. So a lighting pole, just on the bottom of a lighted pole you can find some spot to stand over it. So actually Satish also stood over it and he shouted that, "Arun, come on, this compartment is empty. This bogie, this coach of the train is empty." That's what he's saying. So we can sit there. They do not have a reserved seat in the train. In the reservation bogie, they were not going. I think they were not traveling a long journey, so they are seeing in which general compartment they can adjust. So that is why Arun actually told, Satish actually told Arun that this compartment is empty, we can go in that compartment. After hearing this, the narrator actually picked up his suitcase. Narrator here actually the Arun, he actually picked up his suitcase and made a dash for the open door. Made a dash here, students, means just moved with quick short steps. जल्दी जल्दी जब आप झटक झटक के चलते हैं, that is known as making a dash. Now let's see the next paragraph. What happens? We placed ourselves at the open windows, and the two women stood outside on the platform talking up to us. Satish's mother did most of the talking. Actually, after entering into the train, into the bogie, both those students, Arun and Satish, actually seated on the window side seats. They sit on the window side seats, and then the two women actually stood outside. They didn't enter into the train bogie. Probably they do not have to travel with them. They stand outside on the platform and they were talking to Satish and Arun. And actually, it was the Satish's mother who was talking the most. She was actually talking the most. Now, don't jump on the on and off moving trains as you did just now, she said. And don't stick your hands out of the windows and don't eat rubbish on the way. Now, Satish's mother is actually telling Satish everything what he should do in the train and what he shouldn't do. What things he has to do according to the instructions of her mother. Her mother is instructing that you do not have to jump on and off in moving train. It means that you do not have to jump inside the train when the train is moving, and you also do not have to stick your hands out of the window. Students, you can all correlate yourself with this. This is the a child, this is a very common child habit. They always stick out their hand in a bus, car, or a train whenever they travel. So Sati's mother is forbidding for doing all those things to her son Satish, and then she is also saying that, and do not eat any rubbish thing on the way. And she allowed me to share the benefit of her advice, as she probably didn't think my mother a very capable person. Actually, now Sati's mother is not giving the advice only to Satish, but she is also giving the advice to Arun, because Arun is thinking that Satish's mother thinks that his mother is not as capable a woman as she is here. Now she handed Satish a bag of fruit, a cricket bat, and big box of chocolates. Now, students, you see that what things actually Satish's mother has given to Satish. She has given him a bag of fruit, a cricket bat, and a big box of chocolates, and told him to share the food with Arun also. Like a good mother, she has told her son that you should share your things with your friends too. Then she took back from the window to watch how my mother behaved. Then she actually, stood back from the window to watch how actually Arun's mother instruct her son. I was smarting under I was smarting under the patronizing tone of Sati's mother, who obviously thought mine a very poor family, and I did not intend giving the other woman away. I heard take her hand in hers